I think she's being quiet.
She's being shy. All right. Well, oh look, the sun is coming up. Perfect timing. So we're gonna head over to one of the new PvP areas that we added in this release. We can see what's happening over there.
Yeah, sounds great. So for everybody that's not really in the know of what's going on, Release 8 just went live this morning at 10:30 a.m. Central Time. And with it, that brought in PvP and also some of the combat, the deck abilities.
That's right. You know, for those of you who haven't been following us, we are adding a new kind of combat for MMOs that is loosely based on the strategy of building decks, like in a collectible card game, but in real time. So it isn't the traditional. You always have your abilities on a certain number on your shortcut bar, and they always show up in the same place, and you kind of just memorize a pattern. It's a little more chaotic than that, and so there's a lot of strategic kind of tinkering and deck building that goes on before you ever get into combat. And then after each time you fight, you might do a little bit of tuning again, like you would do in a card game. And so it's a lot more tinkering and refining of your strategies in between fights than you would traditionally see in one of these games. Because most games, for the skills that you build, it's this very linear progression that you build up these skills for your character, and you don't really tinker with the build that much. I mean, you go and you can untrain some skills, you can unlearn some stuff, but you're mostly always going forward. You're always getting more points and you're getting more skills. You're not necessarily reallocating and readjusting constantly on the fly, and that's one of the things we kind of wanted to introduce, was this more strategic element. So that's kind of that was the biggest focus of our release this milestone. And so right here we've got a couple of greeters to all the PvP zones. We wanted them noticeable, so instead of humans in the towns, it's these satyrs. We named them after various members of our team. This one in particular is one of the members of our team, Scott Jennings, who's also known as Lum online. And Lum has cats, so Dreadlord Lum has cats. So that was one of the new animals we got in this release. So you can actually talk to the cats.
I see them meowing.
Yeah, you don't have a lot of things to say. They don't say a lot, but you can actually talk to them.
I noticed there's fish down here in the water too. Already schooling.
There are. You can't fish them yet, but you will be probably in 1 or 2 more releases. We'll be able to fish for the first time.
Now, real quickly, going back to the combat and the deck building you were talking about, I wanted to let you know that I did make a conscious decision to use Eleanor over the magic user you offered, because you had mentioned the magic user didn't have any chance to fizzle, yet because of the character type I'm playing and her heavy armor, that we would encounter slugs, and I wanted to show people eventually what those are so we can explain that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so the idea is that we don't have a class system per se. It's really how you build your deck determines what kind of gameplay you'll have. And while I'm talking, let's go ahead and take the ferry over. So if you just double click on the boat, say ferry to the Brave Coast, and you'll get a little warning dialogue that says, hey, you're about to go into an open PvP zone. And it's a full-on open PvP zone. And the way the game is going to work is there will be these zones that some of them will be constant, i.e. it's always in the same place. You always know that this particular part of the map is open PvP, but we also have this idea that there will be meteor strikes, and those meteor strikes will create open PvP zones as well. And you'll see those on the map, and you'll get this kind of confirmation when you're about to enter one, so you kind of always know what you're about to get into. And it's never a random thing. Let's see. Have you arrived yet?
I have.
All right. I actually had been here previously, so I ended up in a slightly different place, but I'm running towards you.
Okay. So did it remember where you left from and return you to there, or how did that work?
It's because I was using some developer commands to move back and forth between maps. It changes things. By the way, this is my traveling home to your right over here. This is my boat. We can go look at that later after we go watch some of the PvP tournaments going on.
Okay.
So what we're going to do over here is one of the guilds, a group called Vengeance, has organized some PvP fights. So what I thought we could do is we could run over, see what those guys are doing, kind of watch the fights for a little bit, and then we can jump in and mix it up ourselves.
Sounds like a plan.
So we can see as we're coming over the hill, they're doing these one-on-one matches with spectators, and there's the VIP sections on the boat, which is where we're headed.
VIP.
That's right.
That's what happens when you roll around with Darkstar.
That's right. So,
speaking of which, by the way, I don't know if you're actually watching the stream since you can't see me through Skype. But if you pull it up in a little bit, I've got something to show you.
oh yeah, let me pull it up right up here. Hopefully, I won't get a feedback.
Well, just make sure you don't have the volume on.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you
There we
will
go.
yourself. Are you watching it?
Uh-huh.
Do you remember this? Does that look familiar?
Oh wait, it's playing an ad. Hold on.
Oh, okay. Don't blame me. Blame Twitch for that.
Oh, it's an ad.
I'll hold it up in a
All
minute.
right. All right. No, okay. The ad's over.
Okay. So there's going to be about a 30-second delay, but...
Oh yeah. All right. Well.
Oh.
I don't have... Should I turn on my video so you can see mine too, so I can return the chat?
All right. I heard you. I heard it spin. I believe
Yeah,
it. Well, there you go. Now I'll just cut and paste you in there, too, for all the rest of the viewers at home, instead of having the picture that I had to be posted up there.
There you go. Challenge accepted. So actually, so you know what that means? You now owe me a drink because you questioned whether I would have my coin there or not. So.
Oh, okay. Well, when I see you again, I'll do that.
Okay.
It probably won't be till like E3 next year. And for those of the players that were early backers on Kickstarter, I believe they're going to get a similar coin. It won't be this one. It's going to be, but it will be kind of similar in design to it.
Yeah, it'll be very similar to that one. Slightly different material, but it's going to be that same basic design. So let's. So right now, these guys are basically organizing these one-on-one combats between people, and then they're also like giving each other ideas about which kinds of decks and which kinds of builds they're using. And as I was explaining earlier, since we don't have classes, the way that you build a deck. So if you hit the Y key.
Okay. I have 9 abilities in my deck that currently allows for 20 cards, which means I have 11 slugs. I have double slash in there 3 times, parry in there 3 times, and rend in there 3 times. So I'm going to assume that I'll have 6 available options pop up at certain points. Over time, things that are available will actually fade away if I don't use them. And instead of getting a blank, I'll get a slug, which is kind of a weaker attack, but it's not. It keeps me from having nothing to do.
Well, not exactly. The slug really is a slug. I mean, it's a blank card. It's a it's a penalty for a variety of things. Like slugs get introduced by either wearing heavy armor. They can also be introduced by certain spell effects will cause those to appear in your deck. If you don't have the minimum number of 20. Then you will get slugs as well. So this particular build you have, since you're wearing some heavy armor, you're going to get slightly more slugs than usual. But I also noticed that you have one of the abilities down in the lock section there at the bottom, which means it will actually show up all the time. So you don't have to wait for that one to randomly appear. But the cost benefit there is it will cost a little more focus.
Okay.
I'm going to say hello to everyone and let them know what we're doing. Telling everyone to wave. Now I'm telling them all to kill each other. Go back to killing.
They've gone through everyone.
Yeah, so they've gone through everyone, so we're a little late to the tournament, but we just called a free-for-all. So if you hit Z, you'll draw your sword, and your abilities will start appearing. I'm gonna get down on the beach. Now, they will likely swarm me, being that I'm a dev. I'm actually gonna turn my God mode off, so I'll probably die. Oh, they stunned me.
Trying to help you. Oh, we killed somebody.
Nice. Okay, I need to heal myself. Oh. Yeah, so basically, as a dev, I act like a magnet.
Yeah.
Whenever I appear. So that was a quick death. And actually, one of the things we're doing with this release, since it's the first time, we originally had PvP much later in the development cycle. We're still pre-alpha, but we intentionally decided that we wanted to pull it in earlier because we felt like it would be a better way. One, a classic, I don't know a mistake, but a classic pattern that a lot of games like ourselves do is that you get all the combat working and then you add in PvP sort of later, like right before you're about to ship. And so you don't actually have it that balanced because you haven't had nearly as much time to balance PvP versus your main combat. Now this is going to be interesting. Can I keep talking while I'm fighting?
My question to you is, did you buff me? Because I'm not dying and I'm just killing people.
You may have been buffed slightly.
Okay, I'll take it.
Yeah, well, you are, you do have an audience to
appease.
Yeah, and so we figured if you spent a lot of time dead on the ground, it might not be as the.
It would be very similar to some of the previous streams we've had on other games.
Yeah. So we pulled in PvP earlier, and this is great. So I'll die a lot, and then while I'm dead, I can talk about the game systems. So we pulled in PvP because that's going to be, one, it's going to give us a lot more time to balance it, and two, it turns out it's a lot faster to balance your combat and all your weapons and skills against each other when you have other players doing it versus just players versus the AI. And we got into this super rapid iteration cycle with this release where we had daily death matches. So every day the entire team would get in and just in these massive free-for-alls for 30 to 90 minutes, and then right afterwards we'd all get together and we'd kind of go, oh, that was great, that was terrible, oh, we really need to tone down stun, or like we really need to beef up the fire skills or whatever. And so it really gave us this great way to rapidly sort of iterate and balance. Let's see, where are you? Oh, you're right here.
I'm right here. Is there like a cycle that we automatically res after a certain period dead, or did someone actually come and cast a spell on me? I just kind of stood up there after a while.
It's set to like 45 seconds right now.
Oh, okay.
Eventually we're going to have a death system actually very much like Ultima Online, where you're going to turn into a ghost. You're going to have to get back to your corpse to get your stuff. We're even talking about having the ghost speak like in old school Ultima, like the ooh. Wait, what happened? I was talking and then I lost you. Are you over here?
Yeah, this guy was in there beating on somebody and then he ran off. He's like, oh, I wasn't hitting nobody.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I want to kill you.
Yeah, and so there's a whole, in addition to the like straight up skills like you would recognize of like different sword strikes and fireballs and things like that, there's actually a whole set of skills called focus skills, which allow you to tune how the bar works. So they give you things like the ability to lock a skill, so that skill always appears. They also control the speed at which you are dealt cards. They also do things like control how long the card is visible. So you get all these like mechanics in addition to the abilities and the skills and the spells. There's a whole bunch of mechanics related to how those items appear, and it's got a little bit of a learning curve, that's for sure. And we're very early, so there's a lot of work to do on balance. But already it's a much more dynamic combat system than I've experienced in these kinds of games, for sure.
And you can have more than one preset deck built at a time to switch between out of combat for different scenarios that you'd face in game.
Yeah, in fact, once you get high enough level and you have enough points to spend, you'll be able to swap those decks. Like, you'll be able to swap between, say, your tank build or your healer build in the middle of combat. It'll just cost you some focus. And there's actually a whole skill related to that decreases the cost of that deck switching. So,
okay.
Like if you pick one of your decks.
Let me finish killing this Violation Vengeance. He's got like one more hit and he should be dead. Oh, he's running. Oh, he's running. We'll let him go. Okay, so pick Y. And I only have one deck. And now I have a second one. And I gotta get out of combat. So I will modify it.
Yeah, so if you you can do things like if you open up one of your decks, you can do things like modify how fast you're. So like take the deck you already have and click modify.
Okay.
And then you can see up in that upper right, there's a whole bunch of different, or not a whole bunch, but
hand size, draw speed, and discard speed.
Right, and if you click on one of those, you can see you have a number of options underneath that. And the number of options under each one is determined by those focus skills. So those points that you spend on skills that increase or decrease your focus abilities change how many options you have in that window. And then there's also that button that's use current equipment. What that allows you to do is when you swap decks, you can not only can you swap what skills and abilities you have with that deck, you also can swap the gear associated with it. So you can switch from your heavy plate tank guy to your, light armor fire mage guy just by swapping decks.
It's very nice. So you already have a gear manager essentially built into the whole deck ability.
Exactly.
Instead of making some poor player make a mod do it.
Exactly.
So why would I really want to change the size of my hand? I guess if I had a lot of slugs, I'd benefit from having 6 cards to pull from. That way I wasn't really stuck with all slugs.
Yeah. Exactly. And also once you get into higher levels and you have a lot more skills, like right now we're pretty low level, so we don't have that many skills that are going to show up. So, but it's going to be advantageous to have a bigger hand size once you get more skills, because if you have a smaller hand size, you're just not going to have enough room for your abilities to show up.
Yeah.
And you're not going to have as many options available to you at once. And my general build is I have a heal spell locked. I have like a heal spell locked in my rightmost whatever my rightmost slot is. In my case, I'm running with a six slot hand, so my 6th slot is always a heal spell, and then that lets me always have sort of a heal when I need it. Of course, it's not going to help me here because I'm about to die again.
Now that costs you more focus to have it locked, though, correct?
Exactly, and so but you get that predictability. So again, it's part of the whole strategy of how you're going to build your deck. What kind of combat you want to be able to engage in, which ones you want predictable, which ones you don't. The other cost is when you lock something, you can't combo that with other abilities. So it's not in this build, but next build, the release next month, which hopefully we'll get to do this again next month, you'll be able to take abilities and when they appear, combo them together for different abilities. So, for instance, you'll be able to take Flame Fist, which is a melee attack with a fire damage over time, and then combine that with a fire arrow spell to make like a flame jet, which basically shoots a jet of flame out of your hand for a certain amount of time, kind of for an AOE thing, by doing that combo. And so combos can be really powerful, and so sacrificing the ability to combo with a skill is you have to weigh that cost. Okay. Again, this is all part of that. We want all that tinkering that you're going to be doing with your builds, and that we I think is going to be very interesting. And it's already something like literally every day we would have these death matches with the team. We'd all sort of like, everyone would be like, well, I was doing this build, or I was doing this build,
Awesome. One of the things I noticed while we were in there fighting is it feels like when I would get next to another player that it would slow me down, but that you could push through them. Is collision in the game, and is that the way it's working, or how is it designed?
Yeah, so we've gone back and forth. So we went the normal sort of traditional MMO route where I think everyone's dying down, where no one collided with anybody. Like everybody just sort of walked through each other, and there wasn't. But then the sort of level of immersion that Richard always sort of demands of us. We experiment with let's have full collision, and then in large group situations that actually quickly became very, very frustrating. Because you were constantly being stopped. And so we came up with this kind of hybrid where you can go through people, but it'll slow you to a walk temporarily until you're on the quote other side of them. And it feels like a nice sort of hybrid between trying to do full collision all the time versus no collision at all.
Okay. So there you have it. There was a question from the chat room.
Oh, cool.
All right. So what else would you like to show us? For the people that are watching, we're actually going to do 3 of these over the next few months. And we're going to show different things that are work in development and how they've progressed from release to release. I know one of the things we're actually going to take a look at this evening isn't something the developers are working on. It's actually something the players are working on, and that's a housing area.
Yeah, we're gonna probably head over to this player town called Valemark.
Okay.
Let me let the folks know we're leaving. Yeah, so for folks watching, if they want to get in and do some PvP, this is one of the places you can do it. This is an island off the coast of Kingsport, but there's also 6 other locations that you can go to, including there's 2 forest areas. There are 4 arenas that you can go to. So there's a large number of other places that you can go and do some PvP. This is just one of the reasons I wanted us to go here was because it was one of the most organized where, they were running this tournament and everything, even though we kind of missed it.
Oh, no, it's great. It's a neat zone. We got the little coast in here with the houseboat, and these interesting statuesque heads here with maybe you had Medusa things coming off at one point and people broke them away. I'm not exactly sure there.
Oh yeah, so that's those are actually the Oracle. So the Oracle is one of the main characters in the storyline, and she is, well, the legends are mysterious about what she is exactly. Some say she's a creature of magic, some say she's a creature of technology, some say she's a god. No one is really quite sure. And those might be tentacles, they might be cables. no one has seen the Oracle in in hundreds of years, so we're not sure. But we do know that the Oracle maintains a very strong presence and is constantly observing and keeping track of what you do or don't do.
All right.
So on our way over to the player town of Valemark, we're just going to make a quick stop at my boat. So these player islands we added last release, and they were the first maps where we had water-based housing. And this particular boat is a pledge reward for people who pledge at our Baron level and above. And I just thought we could have a quick showing of what our housing system is like. So this is actually a player house, and so you can choose to place this boat in different locations that have a big enough space on the water. In this case, it's a city-sized structure. We have multiple sizes of lots ranging from row houses all the way up to castle-sized lots. So actually, if you look out over the railing at that castle in the distance, that's actually also a player house, and that's the biggest lot a player can own. That's a castle-sized lot that comes with its own like castle wall and drawbridge. It's a pretty massive structure. That's actually in this release, Lord British claimed that, so we might run over there as well. So this is my boat. If people are not behaving on my boat, I have a guillotine to take care of them there. An orrery for helping me navigate as I change the location of my boat periodically.
I was actually going to ask if that continent on the planet there, if that's what the actual game world looks like.
Yeah, actually, that globe that's in the middle of that orrery is our globe. The first release only has one of those continents, Novia, but we're gonna have 5 episodes. So as it's rotating, you can see there's 5 continents on there.
Yeah.
Each episode is gonna have one of those.
That one amazingly looks like Africa with the Arab Peninsula right there. Just gonna throw that out there.
Yeah, it looks a lot like Earth right now.
Yeah,
but it's not Earth. So just real quick, so one of the things, I should have given you permission for this. Hold on just a second. I'm going to give you permission so you can move stuff around too, and you can so your viewers can see what that looks like.
Okay.
Hold on just a second. I got to run out to this plaque and permissions. Add Eleanor
Gibson.
And you are now
using your forge.
You are a kindred, so you now have the ability to move things around and place things. So if you wanna just here, let's go downstairs. Actually, follow me down here.
Okay. I was kind of stuck there.
Oh, you were starting to do some crafting. Look at that.
Yeah, I clicked on the forge and it like walked me through it, and then I kind of got stuck. I was like, I'm going to get from behind here.
Yeah, there's some pathfinding stuff, but pretty alpha.
Oh, yeah.
So
I like the art. I like the...
This is just... Oh, yeah, we took a bunch of our concept art and turned it into paintings that players can see. So you can actually grab one of those if you want, and you can get an idea of and just kind of move it around.
There you go. Can I change the dimensions on it or just move it?
You can move it and rotate it. You can't change the dimensions, but you can grab it, and if you hit Q and E, you can change it. So if you really wanted to mess with me, what you could do is, and it's a wall hanging, so you can only put it on other walls, and so green tells you that you can place it. But one of the things, if you wanted to go in and mess with me, you could grab one and then just use Q and E key to slightly rotate it, so it's like you're going through my house and like messing with me by turning my paintings all on their edge.
Do you have OCD? Will that drive you crazy?
Yeah, exactly. Because it's making them all even and set up. We actually have a little secret area back here. If you double click that door I'm standing in front of.
Oh, cool.
So we try to have like little secret areas of in each of the player.
You have a dead deer back here.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Christ's sakes, man! What are you doing back here?
I don't know. Could it be my murder room?
It's not Dark Starr. It's Hannibal Lecter.
Exactly. That's the
Look at all the antlers. It is Hannibal Lecter.
Totally.
Run away.
You would expect nothing less from me, would you?
Oh.
If you double click on that ladder, we'll go down to the bottom deck, which is.
I don't know if I want to go down there.
No, it'll be fine.
Eleanor Gibson may not come back. Oh, I can't just do it straight 90-degree turn. Oh, I can do 180 though.
Did you turn upside down?
It's like, would you know? Look at this painting. Do you know if this is upside down?
I do, because that one actually is a mosaic that one of our players made for Richard and sent to him.
Yeah.
Which is a mosaic of a dragon flying over a countryside that he did from one of our very first videos we did during the Kickstarter.
Mm-hmm. It actually is a very interesting piece. It says Shroud of the Avatar, so you'd be able to figure it out when you got real close. Like, wait a minute, those words are upside down.
So anyway, you get an idea of the power of the decoration system, and you'll notice one interesting thing you might want to grab is, so see that bed sitting on top of that rug?
I do.
If you grab the rug and start moving around, you'll notice the bed moves with it. So we preserve sort of the relationship of items on top or below each other. A sort of child-parent relationship. So if you move one thing, so like if you move that table, that little chest with that light and stuff on it, the whole thing moves with the items on it. And then you can, if you rotate the thing, everything rotates on it. Hit Q and E and
there we go.
Yeah. So let's head over to, and actually we're going to cheat. I'm going to zone there.
Okay.
And summon you.
You have a menorah in here.
I do. That's correct.
Just kind of random.
And it's slightly random. I did have a Christmas tree in here too, but then I thought Christmas tree might not do well for my image as the sort of chaotic Dark Lord. Summon Eleanor Gibson. Okay, I'm summoning you. You should get grabbed here in a second.
I have been.
Cool. So the interesting thing about the town we're in now, which is called Valemark, this town is being built by a group of players who are led by this guy named Winfield. And Winfield is actually the governor of the oldest and longest running player town in a virtual world. He established this town called Paxlayer in Ultima Online during the beta, and it's still there. And we have someone who's greeting us. And that group, led by Winfield, is now kind of recreating their player town here, and they're sort of pushing the limits of what our home ownership and decoration systems can do. And so I thought it'd be fun to get a tour. So I thought we'd go from like the opposite ends of the spectrum. So one end is the, death and mayhem of PvP, and at the other end it's the, home ownership and decoration and the social aspects. So
sounds good. Well, there's nothing more social really than PvP.
Exactly. So what's important to note is everything you're looking at on this map, other than like the grass and trees, was placed by players. So this entire map was, oh look, and there's Winfield himself. See if he wants to give us a tour. Yeah, so like as I was saying, everything you're going to see right now was placed by players, and in most cases made by players, because a lot of the items you're going to see had to be crafted. They didn't actually exist in the game until the players got in this, and this is only since this morning. So everything you're seeing is since, well, a little bit yesterday because some of them got earlier access, but basically since yesterday afternoon.
Right, so we are being welcomed by the governor, and he is going to show us around. Because apparently they have a player government established as well. And he's got the random town jokester dancing behind him.
Okay, we've been directed to look at this pavilion. Again, this is all crafted by players and placed by players. Every single object you see was placed by a player. And with the permission system, so just like I was able to give you permission to start moving stuff around in my house, that's how they're able to get all this done so quickly, as they all sort of share in each other's property so they can help each other build and decorate and craft stuff. One of the things this town is also famous for is there's a couple of people that love to make mazes.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I'm going to ask him to show us next, is these mazes that players are building that are definitely pushing the limits of what the engine is capable of doing, because they're building them with hundreds, if not thousands, of items in some cases.
We will run to the east. These guys put the RP in the RPG.
Absolutely. And that, you know, it's a great example of, again, taking you from that one extreme to the other, from the PvP over to, you know, the social aspect. It's really trying to have this very, you know, sandbox, old school, you know, players have a lot of control over what they can do and how they do it, and it's and again, pre-alpha, so a lot of rough things. The performance can be better, et cetera, but it's coming along. You know, every month we put out this release to our backers and periodically do promotions to let other people in as well. Like for instance, this release, people who went to Rooster Teeth Expo and signed up got to get in. So we've got a bunch of people from the Rooster Teeth Expo,
Mm-hmm.
and we also have a bunch of people from a promotion that Alienware did. So we should probably do a promotion with MMORPG, don't you think?
It would be nice. Have to talk to Bill and Craig about that one. I'm just the Barbara Walters. They run the stuff.
Go get lost, he tells us.
I don't know if he was being rude or if he was Oh, hey. So I believe this was actually a throne from completing a quest. Maybe?
That's right. There's a quest if you defeat the Lich. This was the throne the Lich was sitting on, and so to have gotten this, they had to go fight in that dungeon, kill the Lich, and then bring this throne back. And if you double click on it, you can sit in it.
It's a very nice trophy indeed, and they are not afraid to let their Christmas tree. And you will notice that they actually have candles on the branches. It's good that it doesn't have LED lighting on it.
Yes, that would break the period immersion.
Though you do have like Tesla coils in the game, don't you? Or that was planned at one point?
No, we do. And so there is technology, and the technology comes from two sources. One, there's a race of kobolds, kind of lizard people, who are tinkerers. They're kind of, I guess, the gnome / dwarf equivalent for us.
Mm-hmm.
and so they have some technology, and then in addition, the people, the storyline is that you and I have come from Earth
Hmm.
to this other world, just like Ultima. So you're like, in fact, we showed a few still screens from our intro flick where you're
Yes.
looking at your computer and you get sucked in through the computer to this other world. So same kind of story as the Ultima, and the idea is that, well, if you have a bunch of these people coming from Earth, they're going to try and recreate some of the technology they have there, but with the materials available to them. So it's kind of clock punk more than steampunk. So more like Leonardo da Vinci level technology than necessarily, say, Victorian level.
Okay.
That's kind of it. We don't have, other than the one Tesla coil in Owl's Head, we don't really have examples of that in, but that probably in the next couple of releases we'll start seeing more of that.
Okay.
Oh, I got out.
Oh, I got out and came back through. I'm back
Okay.
up at the Lich's throne, sitting down, and now I'm back at the governor.
All right.
This actually reminds me. There's a place called Branson, Missouri, that it's like a kind
Oh
of
yeah.
touristy attraction in southern Missouri, and they have a maze like this at one place. It reminded me of that.
All right. We're off to
What in the
said
world is this? It's like a tower of doors they have built over here.
the 3D art. This is art. So we already have art being produced.
Looks like they stacked a bunch of wardrobes and chests.
Yep. Definitely. Every time I see this, definitely think Ultima.
It's like, what did you use to stack to make? Uh-oh. Oh my, that's funny. It's like a face from up there.
Oh
Down
yeah.
at it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Now the question is,
How do you get out?
out?
It's a trap.
I know, right? They're gonna eat me.
Fell for it.
Oh, here we go. You get it right here.
Oh.
Would have been really funny though is they'd have built this entire thing and then someone would have fallen in that didn't have the permissions and they're like, I'm stuck. How do I get out? And they're like, oh man.
They should totally have used that to trap people. Yeah, so you can see, like, from the little bit of playing around that you were doing with moving stuff around, how you could build something like this with just the simple placement tools we have.
Absolutely. Next
Once
up
it's
is the guard barracks. Oh, the Dark Star salute.
Yes, / Dark Star. When I joined the team, we created a few special items for backers to sort of celebrate me joining the team. Because I actually wasn't there during the Kickstarter. I came in July.
Weren't you a stretch goal?
We did actually joke about making me joining the team as a stretch goal, but then we chickened out because, and I don't know if I should be telling this story, but it's too late. I already started it. We did talk about making a stretch goal, and then we chickened out because we were like, well, what if we don't meet the stretch goal, but we really want you on the team? And I was like, yeah, let's not do that. Let's just have me join the team and celebrate it.
Well, from looking at your post Kickstarter funds that you guys have accumulated, I think they would have got there eventually, anyways.
Eventually, but I couldn't wait. I wanted to join the team immediately. So, going to give you some light.
So now we've seen the day-night cycle. We started off in the dark. We saw the sunrise, and now we're seeing the sunset.
Yeah, so total cycle is about an hour right now. We're still kind of tuning that, but it's about 3/4 day, 1/4 night, and you'll note that it gets, without a light, it gets dark at night, and
Yes.
And it gets really dark in dungeons, and we really want light to be a factor in gameplay.
That's good.
We want torches and light spells, because we also want things like hiding and stealth to be important as well. Oh, you jumped in the hot tub.
I did. What can I say? Eleanor Gibson's a party girl.
Yeah, well, the fun story about the hot tub was we put it up as an April Fool's joke to the players, but knowing we really wanted to make it real and let them think it was an April Fool's joke for like a week, and then we confessed that it's actually, or that we actually are going to have hot tubs.
I would just like to
It was
point.
funny. It was funny. They were lobbying. They were yelling. They were mad at us because we had done it as an April Fool's joke, and that we weren't going to make it real. And then when we told them it was real, it was funny.
So this guy over here is talking about bath salts. So if you start to have a in-game drug ring going on, look at the captain of Paxlayer. Just saying.
Yeah, exactly.
Captain of the guard.
He's running the drugs.
Yes. The bath salts.
So here are the barracks.
So the actual physical structure of this canopy itself, this wasn't pre-made by you and they just populated it with the beds and stuff. They actually constructed this as well?
Well, they pick. So when you claim a lot, you get to decide what structure you want on the lot. And so they chose this out of a list of structures.
Okay.
And then they had to either buy or build all these beds and then place them all. So when you place the structure, it's completely empty, other than a few built-in lights. Other than that, it's completely empty.
Okay. And they have a sneaky way to the tavern. What a surprise, a sneaky way to the tavern from the barracks.
Oh, yes, of course.
Fight and drink. And not necessarily in that order.
Exactly.
See, they're equal opportunity Judeo-Christian.
Exactly. So they're not quite finished decorating this area, obviously. But they've only had a day, so...
Now, can they purchase or somehow acquire NPCs to be like a barmaid or a bartender?
Absolutely. So you'll have, very much like in Ultima Online, you'll have NPC vendors. And those vendors can sell whatever you put in their stock. So they could put a vendor over here behind the bar, and that vendor could sell ale. In fact, actually, I wonder if I have any in my inventory.
It'd be a nice gift for you, or from you to them. Here's an NPC vendor.
I was looking for a mug of ale so I could get drunk, but we may have to go. We may have to finish. Well, actually, that's how we're going to finish today's stream. We're going to go to Fire Lotus Tavern in Owl's Head and have some drinks.
Okay.
And you can get drunk and black out. Oh, maybe they have beers here. Maybe one of them has a beer. or maybe not. So anyway, to finish the answer to the question, yes. So you could put an NPC behind the bar.
Mm-hmm.
That NPC could be stocked with beers and food, and or you could set this same place up as a weapon shop if you wanted. So there will be, and the size of the structure will determine how many NPCs of vendors that you can have in it. So the larger the structure, the more staff you can have in it. And because of the way we're working, since we have everybody plays on the same server, and we instance out the scenes as they quote fill up, your vendors will be in every one of those copies of the map. So you can be selling simultaneously on multiple maps to multiple people. So the commerce potential is mind-boggling and also a lot of fun to code. Let me ask him if there's any other particular stops we should make.
Okay.
Before we head over to.
This guy needs to find a tailor.
Did he get naked?
Well, he's river dancing pantless. At least he's got some breeches on. Not really.
So let me give you another spell so you're not in the dark.
This tree is special to them.
This big rock.
Yes.
In fact, there you go.
It is the rock.
Yes.
Definitely, this is the RP paradise.
Yeah. It's the most famous rock.
Beautiful sunsets. Does have a nice little view up here.
Yeah, during the day, it's you can see a bunch of the houses and people moving around and things like that. And, yeah, last release, and they'll probably build this before the end of the weekend. This back behind this house, behind the tavern that we're in, they had a stage up there, and they would have plays on it. Oh, and look, that's what he just said. Our play stage will be here this release. Oh, and then my temple. All right, of course. So I have one particular player. Her name is Amber Rain. So my character is, in fact, the cloak I'm wearing, you can see, has a big chaos symbol on it. So my character, much like my character Blackthorn in Ultima Online, is a devotee of chaos. And there's a particular player, Amber Rain, who is also a very strong devotee of chaos. And so each release, she's starting with the last one, she builds a temple to chaos.
Chaos reigns here. There's somebody freaking out. Chat. Secure, you're late. You already missed the.
Well, we're gonna head over to. After this, we're gonna head over to Owl's Head. We're gonna have a few drinks, and then we're gonna go into the arena underneath Owl's Head. Have a few more fights.
All right, sounds good. For those of you that are concerned about showing up late, don't worry. This will be up on YouTube later on this evening. Oh, we got to have a sermon from you on the
On the
joys of chaos.
Yes.
Royal Sexy wants to know about chaos. You just made their night.
Well, they make mine, man. Every time I see what they do with the tools we give them, it's just amazing. Oh, and someone's giving me something. Oh, there we go, mugs of ale. Oh, well, we can have our drink here.
Sounds good.
I'm gonna hand you a drink.
So you might want to give me all 32 of them.
Yeah, here, I'll give you 5.
Sounds good.
Okay, so the way you drink, you can see I signed my name there.
I like how that. Yeah.
So the way you drink is you got to open up your character sheet. So hit C, and then you got to open up your inventory. Probably gonna have a bunch of stuff because we gave you a bunch of stuff to play with.
All right, I got a mug of beer. Oh, I had beer.
You did.
I had $100 of beer, or one.
All right,
no?
so put that in your offhand where your shield is. You can just drag it over your character and it'll go in the right place.
Okay. Can I double fist it?
Oh yeah, of course you can.
Oh, well, let me.
Oh no, you can't. Not yet. Soon though.
Okay.
Because you have to have a sword in one hand and a mug in another.
Gotcha.
Did I give you all 32?
No, you only gave me 5. But I do have a set of beer.
I can't find mine. Hold on.
I don't know what to tell you there.
Hold on, I got a drink with you. Do you have your drink?
I do. It's in my hand.
So type /toast. Do that a few times. See what happens.
My camera's already rotating. At a certain point, I'm going to make myself nauseous. Will I actually black out, pass out, fall on the ground?
If you do it enough, yeah, you start to get tunnel vision.
I think I'm past that.
We don't. We haven't yet. Although I was insisting that my team build it today was to get it so you throw up like we had in Ultima Online.
Yeah.
Or if you drank too much, you would eventually throw up. We don't have that in yet. So the throwing up simulator isn't built. Soon though.
Soon. Because realism, it's key.
All right, now that you're good and drunk, we're gonna go one last stop. We'll go fight a little bit more in the arena. So I'm gonna cheat and go there, and I'll summon you.
All right. He just fell down.
Yeah.
Are there any teachable emotes in the game yet?
You can't teach them yet. That'll probably happen in release 10. So this is release 8. So 2 releases from now, we'll make it so you'll start being able to teach emotes, because and there's actually 2 levels to that. There are some emotes that can only be taught by a certain person. So like there will be emotes that you can only get from, say, a developer. And then there are certain emotes that you can only get from somebody a certain pledge level. So someone who pledged Knight, he gets a special emote that only he can teach other players. And those players in turn can't actually teach that to other players unless they are also a Knight. But then there's other emotes that anybody can teach to anybody, and then they can pass those along infinitely. So there's kind of multiple levels of teachable emotes. What was your last name again?
Gibson. Gibson.
All right, I just summoned you.
Yes. Hey, make it Rigby and never forget it.
You're right. We should have done that.
Or if you didn't want to be completely set on the nose, be Ripley.
Oh.
And then you've got 2 references in one.
All right. As soon as you arrive, we'll have one last pit stop, which will be another fight. This time, instead of in an open outdoor area, it'll be one of the arenas, and these are actually basements, arena basements that players can add to their house. So you can put a arena basement underneath your house.
Sounds great.
Oh,
I just always wanted.
You always wanted an arena, death match, blood battle arena, blood sport.
Yeah.
Underneath your house.
So alpha being, or pre-alpha being pre-alpha, I'm swimming underneath the surface of the earth.
Oh, whoops. Oh yeah, look at that. Check that out. Hey, look. Yeah, let me see. Do me a favor, see if you can type /stuck, if that'll undo it.
It dropped me down a little bit.
Oh no. Okay, here, let me try and summon you again.
Okay.
I may have to go to another map. Wonder why you fell through.
No idea.
Are you getting the loading screen yet?
Yes, yes.
Maybe it's because I moved while I summoned you. You're helping me troubleshoot. You're being QA now. It's great.
You're very welcome. I can tell you I had some issues with the launcher earlier today as well.
I'm sure you did. Wait, I see you. No, that's somebody else who's swimming through the air.
Yeah, I have not loaded yet. I'm at 86%. I earlier when you teleported me, I was pretty quick. These last 2 times to Owl's Head, it's been rather slow.
Yeah, Owl's Head is the most performance intensive because it has the most player houses.
All right, here we go. I'm good.
We're good now?
Yeah, I don't know that I'm anywhere around you, but oh, there you are.
Okay. All right, follow me.
Okay. So while we're running there, a question I wanted to ask you, and I kind of told you about this, is you guys are adding in features to the game. You're still doing some interesting things with features and crowdfunding. As the executive producer and essentially the project manager on the game, how do you make sure that you guys don't just have scope creep and you start pulling in things that you're just not going to be able to get done in a reasonable amount of time?
That's a great question. Oh, by the way, just double click on that hatch and we'll go down to the arena. I mean, that's a great question, and it's something we have to constantly kind of monitor. At the end of the, but at the end of the day, our deal is we want to make a great game, and one of the freedoms that we get because being crowdfunded is that we don't have a publisher, so we don't necessarily have to ship at a certain day. We don't have to make a quote Christmas window. I don't have to do PowerPoint decks anymore, which is great. I got really good at PowerPoint and Keynote working for large companies, making lots of presentations. My presentations now are these monthly releases to the backers. And so the kind of the way we manage it is we know the feature set we want to build, which is based on what we promised during our Kickstarter. But then we, at the same time, we have to listen to the feedback that players give us. So the best example I like to give is jumping and swimming. So just from an implementation and schedule standpoint, oh, all right, gotta fight this guy. We were not originally going to have jumping or swimming in the game. And we put out our first release, that was 8 months ago, and we felt like, oh, this isn't that great, but it's what we have and it's what we can fit in our schedule. And the players just were like very, very passionate in their expression of how much we needed to add jumping and swimming. They were like, this is a Richard Garrett game. It's about immersion. You're in this world. We want it to be believable. And the fact that my feet are nailed to the ground doesn't feel immersive or real. And so we added jumping and swimming, and we had to push a few things out from the release. But at the same time, what we try to do is every release we leave about 20 to 30% unscheduled, so that we have room to respond to feedback from the previous release. And that's kind of the sort of constrained bucket, if you will, that we have to put those things in that we get feedback from the players. And that's kind of the way we manage it. Is whatever they give us feedback, they strongly express. If they're able to do it in a constructive way and we think it will make the game better, then we'll put that in the game. And sometimes it does cost us some time or schedule or resources, but we always do it in the name of making it a better game. And now there are times that players will ask for things, and we will be very clear and say we're not going to do that. At the end of the day, no matter what the players say, we also have to have a responsibility as the developers to know what is best for the product and what is best for the audience as a whole, not necessarily portions of the audience who campaign for certain features or whatever. So I don't know if that answered your question, but that's kind of...
No, it did. Thank you.
Sure. So Sunday night, the players are having a series of tournaments in the arenas, and players organize those themselves, and they're giving prizes to each other. Like, again, just give the tools we gave them. Oh, this guy's gonna kill me. It's because I'm trying to talk and fight at the same time.
Well, you weren't fighting at all there for a while. He just kept hitting on you. He goes, "It's going to be a slow and painful death."
Yeah. I am a little stronger than he is. Not much, though. I was going to try and run away.
Oh, the caster over there.
All
I
right,
tell you, that root and that fireball spell he's got, that's pretty powerful.
Yeah, you can jump to break yourself out of a stun or a root.
Oh, that's good to know now.
It'll. Oh yeah, I could have told you that before. It
What
will
hap-
cost you focus though, so you'll run out of. Focus is our equivalent of mana.
Mhm.
So if you do it too much, you'll lose mana. But
Yeah, that'd have been good to know earlier when I was just sitting there dying. I'm like, no.
oh yeah, so we run really fast, So we do these monthly releases, and we are extremely agile, quote unquote. But sometimes that means we run really fast. And for instance, a great example of that, of like, yeah, telling you that you could have jumped down a stun. We were doing, the release started at 10:30 today, but a couple of days ago we let our some of our higher level backers in early to help us test out some last minute keys.
Mhm.
About 5 minutes into that early access that we gave them, we realized we had not yet given them instructions of any kind for this like completely new combat system. It was like, oh,
Figure it out.
yeah, that would have been a good thing to tell them. Is like, oh, by the way, combat is completely different now.
Yeah, remember the thing you used to do? Yeah, you don't do that anymore.
Yeah, it's completely different.
I'm sure they appreciate it.
Were there any other questions I could answer for you guys? Or, I mean, I think there was one you had. I don't know if you were being tongue in cheek or if you really wanted a serious answer about what you were asking. Like, what is it like to work with a robot?
Yeah, the other question I had left for you is, what is it like to work with a robot? Because I guess Richard Garriott essentially lives in New York for the most part of the year and drives around in his little handy dandy robot in your office down in San Antonio,
Austin, Texas.
Austin.
And yeah, so correct. Richard lives in New York and travels to Austin once a month for about a week and a half at a time. And the rest of the time, he's still in the office. He's just in the office via a robot. And we have this robot. It's by a company called Double Robotics. And it's the head of the robot is an iPad, and it's on a stalk, a telescoping stalk, so the robot can be at sitting level or standing level. And then the base of the robot is basically like a little Segway, a sort of gyroscopically stabilized mobile base. And you drive it around either on your phone or an iPad or on your computer using WASD, just like you would playing a game. And you drive it around, and the head of the robot is the iPad, so it's got a camera and you see his face on it. He goes to our stand-ups every morning with the robot. He drives around from office to office. He'll pull up right next to your chair and look at what you're doing on your screen and give you feedback. I mean, it is. If someone would have told me like 2 years ago that you're going to be working with a robot every day, I probably wouldn't have. I'm not sure I would have believed them, but I certainly wouldn't have thought it would be helpful in any way. I would have imagined it would just be distracting, but it's really bizarre. Literally after like 2 days of it, you don't even think about it. It's just that's Richard at the office on the robot. Like you don't ever think like, oh look, it's a robot. It's you just think of it as Richard being at the office, and I can't recommend it highly enough for people who have to like telecommute and want to be at somewhere else, and telecommute to an office or whatever. It's really incredible. Because when I first joined the team, I was still living in California because I just finished working at Disney, and so I would share robot time with Richard, and it was like being at the office.
So when you have to get away from the keyboard for a few minutes, do you actually go put the robot like in a closet or a corner or something, or you just leave it kind of standing there and people are like, robot's like dead for a few minutes?
It depends. It's like, how thoughtful do you want to be? You try to move it out of people's way. Like, don't leave it just standing in the hallway. But yeah, so you just kind of go park it somewhere until you can come back. And then the other thing that you have to rely on the kindness of the people on the other end, because the robot has to be recharged periodically. So and the iPad too. So you have to tell people, hey, can you plug me into the charger?
Oh, see, when you were saying you have to rely on the kindness of people on the other end, I was thinking more along the lines of hanging shirts or beads or pictures or something like that off the robot.
Oh, we
So,
totally do that. Like the robot has at one point had, Richard has this rat tail
yes,
hairstyle thing that he's had
yes.
forever. So we had rat tails on the robot for a little bit. We had a little paper crown on the robot at one point. Uh, the robot has suffered a bit for our humor, for sure. And the other thing that happens every now and then, I must confess, is because it's really well gyroscopically stabilized, it's kind of like a Weeble Wobble.
Yeah.
Sometimes the robot might get punched or pushed just to see watch it right itself. So the robot's gotten a fair amount of abuse.
Yeah.
Oh, I hope no one from Double Robotics is watching, because they would probably void the warranty if they heard me saying that. So
Yeah.
just kidding, Double Robotics people.
It
Never ever punch the robot.
It reminds me of an episode of The Big Bang Theory where Sheldon was driving around his apartment with a robot like that. And I saw that, and my wife's laughing, and I was like, you laugh, but I know somebody who actually does that.
Yep, that's right. We even changed the name of, you can name the robot.
Mm-hmm.
So the name of the robot is Richard. Oh, man. Okay, so now someone who knows what they're doing is in here. Tech. Oh, of course it's Tech. So Tech is a guild leader from old school UO days, and also a big PvPer, so of course he is slaying me.
People have come to your defense, and he just healed himself, so.
Oh!
He's content to have just killed you.
Yeah.
I think we'll end it there. We'll leave it with Tech killing you.
Perfect.
You can redeem yourself next time.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for having us on the show.
You're absolutely welcome. For those people that aren't too familiar with the game, let them know where they can find you.
Oh, yeah. Please come to shroudoftheavatar.com, and you can sign up and get updates about what's going on. And if you like what you see, you can help us make the game either through pledging through our crowdfunding or actually contributing content. So we take art and music submissions, and eventually we'll be taking other submissions like code and maps and things like that. But right now it's just art and music, so you can help make the game.
Can they find you on social media?
Yeah, so we have a Facebook page. We have Twitter account, all under Shroud of the Avatar. So look for those as well. And then we do periodic promotions with partners. In fact, we'll probably do one for the next release with MMORPG. And until that time, you can check out some of our other partners, Plantronics and Alienware, who also periodically give out access to our monthly releases, which are about 4 days long. And you, sir, of course, are welcome to use this account for the rest of the weekend and have fun.
I appreciate it. And for the rest of you, make sure to keep tuning in to MMORPG.com, and we'll have all the latest news on Shroud of the Avatar. And we look forward to next month when we'll stream and show any of the updates that they've made to the client for Release 9. Have a great night, everybody.